It's so good to see you again. I know that you'll be watching many book presentations over the next few weeks, but I hope that the next few minutes will be the most engaging of all. Glory, glory, it's time for our Engaging 8 story. Our Engaging 8 story doesn't start off by me mentioning the fact that Engaging 8 follows the Aprendizagens Essenciais and the Perfil dos Alunos, and that it has been divided into 5 units with 3 short subunits, so that you can always cumprir the Planificação Anual, regardless of whether you are teaching in terms or in semesters. Neither does it start by mentioning that the workbook follows the student's book and that it has all the rubrics that we love, like songs, videos, and lots of listening practice, and that it has been upgraded and contains new rubrics, like the engaging pages with the reading tips to help our students develop their English skills autonomously. This year, it can be projected with or without the answer keys. You choose what's best for your students. And although the teacher's file is one of the project's protagonists, our Engaging 8 story also doesn't start off by mentioning that the teacher's file this year is bem gordinho, with everything that our teacher's heart could desire, like 3 tests per unit and 10-minute mini-tests, so that you can choose the best way to evaluate your students. And naturally, we didn't forget the rubrics, so that evaluating students with Engaging 8 is easy peasy. So, how exactly does our Engaging 8 story start? Well, it starts with 3 engaging authors who are passionate about teaching English and who wanted to solve 3 big challenges in the EFL classroom. Would you like to know what they are? Well, the first one is one that we have all been experiencing to a greater or lesser extent for a while now. Have you noticed how students aren't as enthusiastic as they used to be a few years ago to learn English? Well, we noticed this too. And so we decided to include a few secret learning ingredients in Engaging 8 to help lure the students back to the pleasure of learning English. Basically, we have organized learning in such an engaging way in Engaging 8 that the students will be doing the types of activities that they love, like watching videos related to the texts that they read or listening to catchy songs so that they can learn to love English. After all, we all know what happens when we do what we love. Time flies by and we learn without even realizing it, right? And if we are speaking about presenting learning in a way that students love, naturally we have to invest in digital resources, which we can use in our classrooms or which the students can use at home, on their smartphones or computers, to practice what we teach them. We have included a gamified approach to Engaging 8 by including things like the Quiz EV, which is our Kahoot, fun games, karaokes, videos, songs, interactive exercises, which you can correct one at a time, and so much more. Let's take a sneak peek at a Quiz EV in action, shall we? I can just imagine using this in the classroom, can't you? It's fun and easy to use. Now, I have some good news for you this year. Last year, you told us that sometimes you had trouble accessing Escola Virtual at school. So this year we have a novidade. Listen up because this is a good one. This year you can access the Manual Digital on any device and in any format you want. Online, offline, or you can even download it and have it on a pen drive, ready to use whenever you want to. So, that was our first core worry, making sure that students found learning English engaging. Now let's move on to Chapter 2 of our Engaging 8 story. Have you noticed how many, or should I say, how most of our teens don't like to read nowadays? Well, we noticed this too, and we think that this is a problem for two reasons. Firstly, studies have shown that all good students have one thing in common. And you know what that is, right? Exactly. They all read. Then, as we English teachers know, texts are the heart of any English book. So if our students don't like to read, Houston, we have a problem. Wouldn't you agree? So what have we done in Engaging 8 to engage our teenagers to read? Well, the first thing we did was some serious research to create engaging real-world texts about topics that our teens can actually relate to, and then research further if they want to. Notice how we have included some engaging post-reading activities, like videos, which we all know that our students love to watch. Then, thanks to your wonderful feedback, we have included the animated videos of the texts again, so that the students can read without even realizing that they are doing so. This is the perfect way to develop their reading and listening skills at the same time. It's like working on two skills for the price of one. Have a look at what I mean.
Becoming a pro before turning sweet 16. By Andrew Wilger. Ever heard the idiom, act your age? Well, today's story is about three teens who think that age is just a number like any other.
And to guarantee that our students have all the practice they need to ace the questions in the test, we decided to include a new rubric in the workbook, a reading listening page that teaches them all the reading tricks they need to know to ace reading exercises. Notice how the whole page is carefully scaffolded so that even weaker students can get it right. But our Engaging 8 novelties don't end here. This year, we have created a double culture page, which offers an inter and intra approach to developing culture. You'll notice that we have always included a bridge to Portuguese culture, so that students can learn to speak about their own culture in English. Isn't this empowering? If you look closely, you'll also see that we have included mini reading texts to engage all types of students to read, especially weaker ones. And finally, we always work on the 21st century skills by engaging students to create a project at the end of the unit. Notice how we always provide two options, a creative project and a cross-curricular project, so that you can do the articulação curricular in an easy-peasy way. We know that you will choose the most engaging option for your students, and you know that we have included the planificação for the articulação curricular in the teacher's file, so that articulating really is easy peasy. I'm very excited to tell you about our next reading novelty that I'm really passionate about. You know how much I love to go and read for your students, don't you? Well, this year we have included a Reading for Pleasure rubric so that we can engage them to develop the I Love Reading baixinho. We have always chosen extracts of novels for teens that are related to the topics of each unit. And we always close the reading experience by engaging the students to make a creative project of their own. You can, of course, choose to do this or not, depending on your students and the time you have. Time flies by, and so it's time to move on to part 3 of our engaging 8 story. This time we decided to attack a really big and difficult challenge, as I'm sure that you will agree. Over the last few years, how many times have we had to admit that we don't have the time to develop the production skills as much as we'd like to? Too many to count, right? Are you curious to see what engaging approaches we have come up with for these skills? Let me show you. Well, because many schools in the 8th year only have 2 tempos per week, we wanted writing to be a very carefully scaffolded activity that students could do step by step on their own, because we really don't have much time in the classroom. This is why we have created a new double writing spread in subunit 2. As you can see, we have divided each writing task into 3 simple steps. In step 1, the students think about and brainstorm what they want to write about. In step 2, we give them help with the language functions and structures that they need to follow. And in step 3, we give them a frame text so that they can't go wrong when they start writing. And the cherry on top of the cake is the writing checklist to guarantee that we help them catch those silly mistakes that they always make. Because we know that our students love watching YouTube videos to learn new things, we also give them writing tutorial videos for them to watch in class or at home, so that they have their personal explicador to teach them how to write well.
Let's learn how to write an article for your school newspaper. Are you ready? Let's go. Imagine you have to write an article about the perfect school outfits for your school newspaper. How can you give your readers some fashion tips? Well, just follow these 4 simple writing steps. Let's start off by thinking about what you want to say. You may want to watch a video or 2 to get inspiration and ideas for your article. Jot down any fashion tips you could use in your article. Now, let's think about the introduction. Begin your article with an interesting opening sentence, something catchy for your reader's attention, like, "Want to find out how to look your best at school? Well then, read on." Time to think about some expressions to sequence your fashion tips. Expressions such as these. Firstly, this is why I recommend that you. Another useful tip is, so you should. Finally, might come in handy. You are almost ready to write your article. All you need now is to organize your text, so follow this writing template. Include a title. Of course, a strong opening sentence in paragraph 1. Fashion tips in the 2 middle paragraphs, and a conclusion in the last paragraph. Let's start with the title, Keeping Trendy at School. Add your opening sentence. Want to find out how to look your best at school? Well then, read on. Move on to the next paragraph and give your first tip. Nowadays, everyone is into quality, but quality pieces are usually expensive. So focus on style and how affordable an item is. Give examples of 2 items of clothing. Use an expression to sequence your ideas. This is why I recommend that you wear some nice, tailored jeans and fitted t-shirts. You can never go wrong with these. Now, move on to the 3rd paragraph and give your second tip. You should buy stylish clothes. Add a connector, like, but, or although, to show contrast. Although you don't need to spend a fortune, try buying at fast fashion stores. They sell stylish but cheap items. Now, on to the last tip. Finally, sell what you don't wear. You can invest that extra money in better pieces to upgrade your wardrobe. Now, all you have to do is to write your closing sentence. So what's the moral of today's article? Well, it's really simple. Focus on affordable style and fit to be well dressed and look your best at school. And that's a wrap. Writing an article for your school newspaper is easy peasy. Don't you agree?
And finally, in the back of the workbook, in the Writers and Speakers Corner, we give them extra scaffolding to make sure that we catch every student, including our weaker students, at being good at writing. Now all we need to do is to invent a techie gadget that will correct the writing tasks for you. Ah, isso que era bom, verdade? Now, what about speaking? How are we going to tackle this elephant in the Engaging 8 classroom of 30 students or more? Well, Isabel, João and I wanted to guarantee that the students felt that speaking in English was easy peasy. This is why we have built all the units so that the students always use the target vocabulary that they are learning to do the speaking tasks in the book. If you take a closer look, you'll notice just how carefully scaffolded they are. And to guarantee that the speaking presentations in your classes are amazing, this year we have created a new tool. It's called the Speaking Teleprompter, and it literally teaches students to create a well-organized speaking presentation step by step. The best thing about this is that it is inclusive. This means that the students can choose to create their presentations from 3 different levels. Level 1 is easy. Level 2 is normal. And level 3 challenges our good students to shine. Now, everyone can get it right if they try. Let's take a closer look at this in action, shall we?
Ace your students' presentations at school. Speaking in front of a class can be a daunting, nerve-wracking task. Have your students practice their presentation skills in a safe environment to build their confidence and fluency. Let them watch a model. Video clips featuring real students provide achievable speaking role models that increase motivation. Empower the students. Let them choose how to proceed, what to do. Our spoken production tool features adapted activities for the level and confidence of your students. If your students get nervous about speaking, a script might be their best friend. If they feel confident about a task, text prompts might just be enough. Let them go beyond the task at hand if they are presentation aces. Regardless of the level chosen, integrated tips on body language are provided to help them succeed. Students can rehearse, record themselves, and play back as many times as they want to improve their performance. And once they feel confident they nailed it, they can share their recordings with you. Opportunities for guided production are sometimes difficult to come by in the classroom. With this engaging spoken production tool, it's not a matter of if they'll get better, but when they get better.
Now, this is a tool that is going to make a difference in our engaging classrooms. Wouldn't you agree? And thanks to your feedback, in the back of the workbook, in the Writers and Speakers corner, we have included the speaking cards again to make sure that our students look professional when they present in class. But what about us teachers? Well, we have some engaging treats for you too. The hot speak out activities with extra speaking activities for your students. Then, we also know that students need to train speaking for the test and that you can't take any photocopies. So we have created the engaging speaking practice box to make sure that every student can practice in class without you needing to photocopy a single thing. Our Engaging 8 story is coming to an end, but there are still a few more things that I'd like to show you. Starting with the fact that we have included all the important resources in the student's book so that the students can't lose or forget anything at home. So, in the student's book, they have the engaging verb wheel to help them learn their English tenses, the festivity pages, the extensive reading, and the study guide. This year, the study guide is bem gordinho, so that the students can really learn how to be autonomous and to study English. It starts with the engaging dictionary that has all the highlighted yellow words in the student's book, so that our students can look them up for themselves, and we can have the time that we need to help those students that really need us. But we have also included word lists for every unit, so that the students have all the vocabulary that they need to study for the test in one place. Naturally, we have included the grammar explanations in Portuguese. And in our teacher's version, we've also included the suggested answers. Because, well, if we're honest, we don't always have the time to prepare everything as well as we'd like to. As well as the listening scripts, just in case technology gets a little creative. if you know what I mean. In the actual student's book, this year we give you 2 extensive reading options. The saga, so that you can do the articulação curricular with Portuguese, and Exposer, which is a really cool story by Paul Jennings. We have also included the animated extensive reading videos so that I can read to your students whenever you want me to. But don't worry, you can still invite me to go and read live at your school. Let's have a look. Hello, I'm Vanessa Steeves, and today I'm going to be reading Chapter 1, entitled Hans's Dream, of Saga by Sophia de Mello Briner Anderson. This is the story of a boy named Hans who is from Vig, an island that has a deep bond with the sea, like Hans does. The sea has always been a part of his life and dreams since he was young. First, it violently took his uncles Gustav and Niels's lives. Then, the biggest ship in Vig, the Elsinore, was shipwrecked. One of the problems that we all have is that not every student buys the workbook. But they need the workbook to practice so that they can do well in the test. This is why this year we have created the English homework practice that comes with the student's book to make sure that every student can study for the test without having to buy anything else. And speaking about tests, we've also made sure that you have the tools you need to make the best tests for your students. Look at how your engaging fairies have been working hard for you. In the teacher's file, we give you 3 tests, plus 30 mini-tests, which you can use to substitute the respective sections in the tests. This means that it's easy peasy for you to make new versions of the tests. And to make sure that it's almost impossible for the Centros de Estudos to guess which test you are going to give, we have once again provided the test generator, which creates another 3 leveled texts that you can mix and match to create lots and lots of tests. All you need to do is to decide whether you want to give a digital or a paper test. The other headache that we've solved are the rubrics. Enjoy your holiday because we have created them all just for you. So, what type of project is Engaging 8? Well, it's a project that is easy to teach and learn with. It has lots of new resources, like the Speaking Teleprompter, and it's great for all students. So, you know what I'm going to say next, don't you? Glory, glory, come and join our Engaging 8 story. Bye for now.